Okay, it is now 2 minutes, 3 minutes after 6. This is the Town of Alton Zoning Board of Adjustment Public Hearing Agenda, November 6th, okay, in the Alton Town Hall. I want to call to order the meeting. We have no appointments for alternates. All of the members are here. Would each member mention their name? Joe, would you start, please?
Yes, Joe. Joe Mankus.
Timothy Morgan. Paul Laurtel.
Tom Lee.
Frank Rich. Statement of appeal process. The purpose of this hearing is to allow anyone concerned with an appeal of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to present evidence for or against the appeal. The evidence may be in the form of an opinion rather than an established fact. However, it should support the grounds that the board must consider when making a determination. The purpose of the hearing is not to gauge the sentiment of the public or to hear personal reasons why individuals are for or against an appeal, but all facts and opinions based on reasonable assumptions will be considered. In the case of an appeal for a variance, the board must determine facts bearing upon 5 criteria as set forth in the state statutes. And for a special exception, the board must ascertain whether in each of the standards set forth in the zoning ordinance have been and will be met. Norma, do we have any changes for the approval of the, and can I get an approval for the agenda, but do we have any changes at this particular juncture?
We have one letter that is under correspondence that was not in the original agenda.
Okay, and for which,
It is on your table.
it's on our table, okay? And that's for,
Regarding a previous case, and it is to the applicant from me.
35 dash lot map lot 35, lot 34, 178 East Side Drive.
Correct.
Yes, okay. Is there anything else?
No.
Okay. Can I get an approval of the application for the agenda, please?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda as written for November 6th this evening.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Not hearing any. Okay, so we have the approval of the agenda, and the first case is Z2532. Pauline Monzioni, applicant, map 9, lot 33-2, New Hampshire Route 11, 239, Henry Wilson Highway. It's an administrator of appeal for the rural residential zone. An administrative appeal is requested for Article 500, Section 520-E, in reference to the planning board's interpretation of a 2-year deadline in the Alton zoning ordinance and predetermination of an application prior to a hearing on 6/17/25. I'm going to let everyone know that this is closed to public hearing. This is basically a decision that the board tabled until this coming month based on the fact that we needed to get legal counsel in terms of what the parties mentioned to the board at that time at the last meeting. So we have open deliberations. Gentlemen, please speak your mind.
Mr. Chairman, I'll start it off then. I think there are two issues here that the board needs to think about this evening and determine and take a vote on. The first is, what is the meaning of final approval under that ordinance section? And that ordinance section corresponds to a great extent with RSA 674-33, so I don't think there's a matter of a discrepancy in the law. I think the interpretation hinges on both the RSA and the ordinance in determining what constitutes final approval. The second issue I think we need to address is whether the applicant exercised the rights that they acquired by getting a special exception. And I think those two issues probably should be addressed separately.
Okay? Thank you.
And Tim, when you mention final approval, you're talking final approval by the ZBA is what is the question?
Well, I think the issue is whether it's the final approval given by the ZBA at their hearing, or whether it's the final approval given by the court system after their decisions or appeals up to the Supreme Court level in this case.
Okay.
So I would suggest we start with the final approval and see what the board thinks is final approval. Is it the ZBA final approval, or is it the appeal from the Supreme Court? Does the time start to run at that point?
It's my interpretation and my personal interpretation that I feel as though that when a decision is made, it normally, in most cases, would be the zoning board of appeals. But that being said, when you go to the Superior and Supreme Court and the court decisions are made, I feel as though they're a higher standard. And I feel as though that the case, in this particular case, the final decision, in my opinion, would be the court system and not the zoning board of appeals in this case. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I do remember too, there was, excuse me, we have a new microphone system, they upgraded it, but we also have a new person transcribing the minutes, and it just came to me that they had asked that we announce ourselves before we talked. I think I brought this up last meeting, but we have a new transcriber. So this is Tom Lee, and understood what you said, Paul, La Rochelle. I disagree with that. I really feel final approval, it starts and ends with the zoning board. Now, what transpires after that, certainly Superior Court is in that position to be Superior Court, but none of this goes forward or backwards without what I perceive the final approval to be is through the ZBA.
Okay.
Tom, I think I agree with that. In reading 674-33, it doesn't seem to refer to court appeals, and when a court issues its appeal, it doesn't call it an approval. I think the approval has already happened at the zoning board level. When the zoning board issues its approval, there is an option for an extension. The applicant could come for an extension for any number of reasons. But I think that's the final opinion, and the 2 years begins to run at that point.
Joe Mankus, and Tom, I agree with you, and Tim, for all the reasons Tim just explained. And yeah, that's it. Don't want to add to that.
Okay, thank you. I agree with Tom that, and Tim and Joe, that the final approval for purposes of RSA 647-33-4-6 and Section 520E of the zoning ordinance is final approval. And it's based on the common language and the common sense of what those RSAs and the section has said. And again, I agree with what Tim said, that if there had been any concern on the part of the then applicant, that they were going to need more time, they certainly had time to go back to the zoning board to get an extension, which was not done. So I agree with you, Tom, and I agree with you, Tim, and with you, Joe, that that final approval means the purposes of RSA 674-33-4-6 and Section 520E of our zoning ordinances. Final approval. So, can I get a motion, please?
I'll move at this point that we vote that final approval under our zoning ordinance means the final approval when issued by the zoning board.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
So 4 in favor and 1 opposed. And Mr. La Rochelle was the opposing. Okay. So let's move on to exercise, as Tim so eloquently mentioned.
Well, my understanding of the facts of this case are that the applicant began operating as something analogous to a contractor's yard prior to the request for the special exception. That was not something we objected to, and they have continued in that vein. However, one of the requirements for exercising the rights that you gain from a special exception is that you go for site plan approval within a 2-year window. And that did not happen in this case. So I would argue that they haven't exercised the rights under the special exception, and that therefore it's lapsed.
Yeah, this is Tom Lee. I concur with that. And looking back through the notes and going over the case, I specifically remember that the applicant had stated that they felt they were exercising their rights because they were continuing it, but nothing gets exercised until they get planning board approval. And so I feel there was certainly time for an extension that wasn't had. I don't feel that they exercised accordingly.
I agree with what Tom just said.
Paul La Rochelle?
No further comment.
You have no comment? And I agree with what Tim, that, and what Tom Lee said. This is Frank Rich, okay? That, it wasn't exercised in the, within the 2-year final approval. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move that this board find that the applicant did not exercise the rights under their special exception within a timely period.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Based on that,
All opposed?
sorry,
None? Okay, that was unanimous.
based on that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we grant the appeal in case C-2532. There's an appeal from Section 520E of the ordinance.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? No? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Okay, new application, case Z 2537. Christopher Dresser? Thank you. Sorry, Chris. Okay. You know, I'm not very good with this stuff, but, all right. Sure. Agent for Robert Flannery and Alton Pittsburgh LLC owner, map 31, lot 35, 208 Main Street. Okay, administrative appeal, residential commercial RC zone. An administrative appeal is requested in reference to a cease and desist from code official issue on September 4th, 2025.
Again, American property, 208 Main Street, Alton, and again, tax map 31 lot 45. Now, look, we're not really here to fight the cease and desist. I mean, frankly, I'm here to just explain the picture. The only aspect of the cease and desist that we're taking any issue with is pickup. That's it. I'll get to that in a second. But as far as the work that's been going on, we came to an agreement over after we tried to get a special exception, we didn't get it. We came to an agreement back and forth a few times on that. And I did realize, I know that the agreement was not signed, that was pointed out by my guy. I will have to, that's just an oversight, and I have to be back and forth. And certainly the back and forth I had. Anyway, that said, what's been going on in the impetus for the cease and desist is that there have been, the business owner got all the equipment off. We got all the trailers, most of the stuff off. But yeah, there's been a few pieces of equipment laying around. And they've been not laying around, not being used. It's been there. Ongoing landscaping and drainage work. Mainly, if I'm correct, it is right on the border between the two properties that abut each other. What the sort of work is.
He needs to turn his microphone.
You
Excuse, Chris, put your mic on.
just hit the button.
Yeah, yeah. Just let your finger off the button.
See the light's green?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought it was on this whole time. So anyway, they're doing work along the border. Now, the same landowner owns the abutting property to the south. And they've been doing some drainage work on that and a little bit of landscaping. To the best of our knowledge, we don't need any special permission for that. But when I wrote to the town after we got the cease and desist, I said in the letter, I said, if we need some sort of special permitting for this, just say the word and we'll do it. But we were under the impression that's not really necessary. The work that's being done there is being done at the behest of the landowner. And in the appeal that I submitted, the very last exhibit here, I've got some proposals from my client. And this is landscaping work, and yeah, he hired the guy that happens to be the tenant. But we submitted that to demonstrate, this is not storing stuff there, this is ongoing work. When the job is done, the stuff is gone, okay? But, so that's the capitulation part. That's the part of the cease and desist that we're here to explain and say, it's a non-issue, we'll comply. But when I read the cease and desist, it discusses pickup trucks. And yes, he's got about four pickup trucks and one that I think he drives, that are just being parked there at night, overnight. No different than a code official that has to park their car at the town hall. I represent 3 towns, so I know that happens. You get to the town hall, all the town cars are parked there overnight, right? Folks bring their cars home that are contractors to their homes if they happen to work for a company. These are roadworthy, registered vehicles. We're not talking trailers or anything like that with these, just pickup trucks. Are they associated with his business? Yes. But other than that, they are just simply pickup trucks that we're parking there overnight. So that's really the only reason we appealed this at all, is pickup trucks, plain and simple. Because if he has to take those off-site, that gets a little more complicated for him. And he is allowed to have an office there, and that's really all that is being used for, that building is being an office. In other news, we were told to get a sign permit. We showed up to do that. Your code officials said that they're not going to act on it, at least while this is going on. Fine. Beyond that, I think that's about it. I know there was something about him doing some of that landscaping in the state right away. The state came by, we talked to the state, they've got no issue. They went away, and they did what the state does best, nothing. So, and that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions best I can. I do want to mention that Mr. Flannery couldn't be here today, very much wanted to be, but he had a vacation with his family on the books for quite some time, so he's far way away. So, that's all I have.
Paul LaRochelle. Looking at some of the pictures that were taken on the 27th, there was piping, looks like drainage piping and everything. Was that was all for the work that was being done and performed in the yard? With the
Correct.
stone?
Correct, yes.
And is that, I'm not sure if that's still existing? You haven't started that project yet,
yes.
as of yet? Would you,
Yeah.
can you come up, sit up here? Speak into the mic, please, and state your name.
Just state your name. You're good, you're good. State your name.
Dan Hebert.
And just explain,
Dan Hebert.
okay, and just explain what the piping is, please.
Piping is
Very
a-
matter of fact.
Decorative retaining wall going against the,
Can you,
the
can you
Speak
get
into
close to
the,
the mic?
yeah, pull it
There
toward
we
you.
go. Decorative retaining wall going across the embankment across the back to incorporate drainage runoff, as you all know, how much water runs off that hill on all the lots down there. I've fixed a couple of them so far in the neighborhood. Ken Kinney's back there, 192 Main Street. Fixed his when I did his septic system. I fixed the problem at 196. Now got the problem at 208. It's going to solve that. So all that pipe is going in there to incorporate with the wall. And then the slope is going to be landscaped up there like I've already started. So all that rock and stuff that's there came off the slope of 196. So just store it there until it's all accumulated, and that's getting all hauled above Flannery's house probably this coming week or the week after. And then start the retaining wall. Should be done, let's say by Christmas.
And so, but all of that, though, is relative to the work that you're doing on site? Okay.
So any of the equipment that is there, the loader, or anything else with that will be,
That's all leaving as soon as the
removed
job's
once
done.
the
Yep, so,
project is done.
like I said,
just curious as to where is the drainage being directed to?
we have a drainage swale already in front of that property and catch basin, so it's just
Within
gonna
the
run
catch
into
basin?
that, run into that swale and into the catch basin. Rather than, it puddles up there on the edge of 11 at the sidewalk, so that should be.
So
pretty much-
nothing is going
That should
out
be
into
pretty
the
much
road or anything like
eliminated,
that?
and next year we'd like to repave it. It's all crumbled to shit back there. Pardon French.
Thank you. Remember, you're on the record.
Yep. All right.
And so anyway, the last point I just wanted to make too, and I'll defer to my pleadings, is the sort of, if pickup trucks were to fall under the contractor's yard definition, then they'd have to be equipment. It gets a little fuzzy, in my opinion, when you're talking about something like a pickup truck that gets you around. And I know that your code official cited to in their thing that I got this morning that, some dictionary definitions of equipment, and then one of them mentions vehicles. I'm sorry, but when I read those, I thought to myself, this is just way too overly broad. If I was to accept this as a definition of equipment with respect to a contractor's yard, everybody with a pickup truck's got a contractor's yard. And that's really all this is about, very narrow issue that we brought before you today.
So a couple of questions, if I might. When will this work be finished?
The wall and stuff, like I say, should be done before Christmas, and
And so what equipment will remain on the site after that?
None, it'll just be the pickup. Well, again, we're here trying to make our stake for the pickup trucks, that's it.
Okay, thank you. So what you're suggesting is after Christmas, 4 pickup trucks, nothing else?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Norma, do you have anything to say here?
There is equipment and piles of material and a dump truck and a pickup truck and another pickup truck on the site today. The bottom picture is from September, after the special exception was denied and after the cease and desist order was issued. There's clearly materials, equipment, dump trucks on site. The top picture is what the site was before Mr. Hebert moved in. And there's been no approvals, there's been no communication, there's been nothing from the landowner or the tenant to the town regarding what they should or shouldn't be doing. They just moved in, put a contractor's yard there, and it's been there for 2 years. So now they're claiming that the 2 years that they've been there is now all approved and that they're not doing anything wrong. I have a letter here from Mr. Drescher that says, once all of the work in the area is completed. Now, I don't understand why they need to park all the equipment and materials at 208 Main Street when they're saying they're working at 196 Main Street, and there's no equipment over there. But the letter says, once everything is completed, the area will be restored to compliance. This is dated September 10th. On September 15th, the landowner told Department of Transportation that the work was completed in the right-of-way and that they will still be doing an after-the-fact permit for the work in the right-of-way. So they told DOT that the work that they're talking about this evening was completed on September 15th.
The work that was completed for DOT was specific to just what was in the right-of-way, because that was all the state cared about. All the equipment she just mentioned that is on site as of today is, again, relative to the ongoing work. When I talked about having the area restored to compliance, one of the parts of the agreement is that we are supposed to make clear the boundary between these two lots and make sure that we leave a 10-foot buffer for the side setback. That's what I was referring to. So when the work is done, that will be restored with respect to that. I mean, respectfully, I have reached out. I mean, I have left question marks at the end of sentences that I've sent to the town and never heard back. In my correspondence, when I sent this in, I said, if we need to do something, if we need more permitting, please advise me. And we never heard anything. So the communications at 2A Street here, we've been reaching out, and we're trying to do the right thing.
Do you have emails or texts
So I
responding
got
to
one,
that?
actually I did bring this one. If I may?
Sure. Thank you.
I asked directly, could you please advise on what we need to do? And I never heard anything back from that. It's the 10th, September 10th. I will say, when I've reached out to Attorney Whitley, he's usually pretty responsive. But I'm not sure if I can. I know I copied him on my letter.
There's still no
So
agreement.
if
There's
I may,
nothing in
if I
writing that
may
was
add,
ever agreed
Joe
on.
Mankus, if I may add, this has been going on for some time, and I'm looking here at this bottom picture, and that's not a pickup truck, that is definitely a dump truck. There's two dump trucks, and they're obviously there for long-term because you get sunshades up in the window that you wouldn't put there if you're just working on the project. Also, Hebert, I've seen them, you see them all over town, and they can process a site in a lot less time than 2 years. Even if you started today, you would have that done by December. I'm not going to finish. And I think in the effort of being a good neighbor, it would be in his interest to be a little friendlier to his abutters. We've had a few meetings here. There was a lot of abutters who are against doing this, and we're trying to come to some type of a resolution. And it's my opinion, we're just kicking this can down the road and trying to get as much time out of this as we can.
Well, I mean, all I can say is, I guess, I know that he's busy doing septics during those warmer months.
Well, he's a landowner, he's not the,
Huh?
are you pointing to this gentleman
You
here?
know, he's the business owner.
Oh, you're the business owner, I thought you were the landowner. Okay.
Landowner is not here tonight. He couldn't be
Okay.
here.
Okay,
That's
my
what I said.
fault.
And I'm here for the landowner. I'm not here for the business owner,
Okay.
but it's easier to answer any questions he can. So, I mean, has it been taking a long time? Yes. I mean, there's probably a technical reason for that. But like I said, when this is done, we are going to capitulate. When he's done with this landscaping.
So when do you think it's going to be done?
No, he just represented by,
Said that by
Christmas.
By Christmas, it should be
I'm
done.
sorry?
By around
Christmas.
Christmas. Middle of December.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question, Norm. Do you remember some of the correspondence back with the Attorney Gentry?
Mm-hmm.
What we are doing here tonight is the board is deciding on an appeal of an administrative decision where I determined that there is in fact a contractor's yard at 208 Main Street and has been there for 2 years. And you have to decide if what my interpretation of our zoning ordinances is correct or not. That's all we have to do. That I'm wrong, then that I'm.
This is Tom Lee. We denied the special exception,
Yeah.
this matter. And there was a cease and desist at that point, which we negated after we denied the special exception. And now the work that is there, the work trucks that are there, the trailer, the backhoe, whatever it may be, it's your opinion, you're stating that it is in fact landscaping purposes to fix up
Transients.
that property.
Transient.
So, in my opinion, to Joe, are we kicking the can down? I think we have to bring some finality to this either way and set the condition for this appeal and get some dates, hard dates, that it is what it is. It can't be before sometime around Christmas. Let's set a date if in fact we want to go that way, and then everything moves off of that date. The property looks much better than what it did before.
Well, thank you.
So that's a credit. And we know when we went through this, not to rehear the whole case again, there was a lot of questions on certain issues. And it was pretty clear cut. Special exception was denied, and now simply it's pickup trucks. So,
It's an office and pickup trucks.
yep.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, Paul Arisho again, and to elaborate on Tom's point, if you picked a date, say like the 20th, let's just use that for an example, the 20th of December, and say that was a date that was picked, okay, we can get the drainage done, the retaining wall built, the equipment out of there, and you're an understanding that the special exception for a contractor yard was denied. But now that you are going to have a few vehicles there, because you're using the building as an office, you understand that.
Correct.
And that's what the intent was.
Yes.
And that was the whole reason for putting a cease and desist on it, because it looked like you're bringing in equipment, you're bringing in material, you're stockpiling it, you're going to do jobs with it, and it just looks that way. And I can understand that. But you got to understand, on the department's point of view,
Absolutely.
you were denied, and it still looks like you're still operating under the assumption that you're still doing a contractor yard.
I'll be the first to say it looked bad, right?
I mean,
It-
the
it
yard
looked bad. It's a
looks
bad
good, you did a
coincidence.
good job and everything, but it needs to end. It
Yep.
needs to be cleaned up and needs to be put in a perspective that it is not a contractor yard.
Then let me propose this then. I like the idea of a date. Or otherwise, if we need to come, like I said, if we need to come get any kind of special permission, I'm fine, to be doing the landscaping work. But what about a date? Dan, does December 20th work?
Yes, that works.
Yeah?
Like I
So
said, it's
you
just-
can hold us to that after December 20th, this will be done, and there'll be nothing but pickup trucks in an office.
No,
Joe
that-
Mankus, I have a comment. How about 2 weeks?
No. I've got so much work.
Like, well, we've ignored the cease and desist order multiple times. Seems to me like 2 weeks, you should be able to get that done.
I mean, we appealed it. I mean, we have rights, and we appealed the interpretation of that cease and desist, and that's what we're doing here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Norma, you want to speak?
I think we need to do what we are here tonight to do. There is an appeal that we need to decide on. There's We're not here to negotiate a deal. We're here to decide on this appeal of an administrative decision.
Mr. Chairman, I think the administrator would like to speak.
Would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ryan Heath. I'm the town administrator. I'm here for a reason tonight because the communication that Attorney Dresser is referring to was with my office, not with Norma's office. That's why I thought it was important that I be here. All right? His conversation through Stephen Whitley, town council, and the conditions and what was being negotiated and a compromise was being done through my office because, quite frankly, I had the institutional knowledge of this property. As far as my years of service, my 25 years here in Alton, and understanding that property and what it's been used for in the past. We did not reach an agreement. Agreement was never signed. What was relayed from the property owner through council was that they would have everything removed by August 1st. August 1st came and left. There was no communication from their end on any kind of landscaping work, any other work that was passed on down to other properties or beyond. When we started this conversation after they didn't get the special exception through town council, the concern was that that parking lot had been enlarged all the way beyond the boundary line up onto the septic system, almost to the vent pipe next door. I understand that the property owner owns both properties, which that's understandable. He can give the permission to whomever he wants to go back and forth. But the issue is that parking lot has been extended without any kind of site plan or any information. When we didn't come to an agreement, the boundary lines were not reestablished. Again, that was to the point. The major issue is DOT has unequivocally said there is no commercial driveway permit. There is no driveway cut. The only driveway cut that is there is for the residential multifamily unit. And when I got back to the institutional knowledge of that property, as most of us know that have been in town, it was used at one point in time as a grain store to support the hardware store. But again, there was parking directly across the street. Furthermore, most recently, I believe it was Mahoney's Plumbing, was used as an office space. I think it was pretty telling to see what the property looked like in September of 2023. It was the building with a single drive that was connected to the original multifamily turnout. What I think is as important is the changes to the site to accommodate the business directly goes against what our zoning regulations have in definition of what criteria that the board has under section 444, the special exceptions. In addition to the regular criteria, the zoning ordinance outline other considerations. One, off-street parking. The other one is structure setbacks within a residential commercial zone. Contractor yard. The other additional considerations are size, location, type of materials and stockpiles, and other outdoor storage. There was also shipping containers on site. The other thing, number 2, specifically states type and size and number of vehicles entering and exiting the site. Again, it goes to even pickup trucks that are servicing the business. It also adds to the trip count, again, for a driveway cut that doesn't exist. The other stuff is screening of outdoor storage areas and parking areas from adjacent properties and public streets. Dust and erosion control, they're all part of what everybody else needs to prove or display to the board when considering this type of work, contractor's yard. Again, none of this has been considered, none of this has been brought to the board. And we may have gotten there until the special exception was withdrawn, but the issue at this point in time in trying to work with the property owner is trying to establish that, yes, you can, the town is not going to dispute or argue the fact if you want to use it as a business office, an office, that's all it's big enough for, in the original parking lot. But to take it upon themselves to expand that parking lot, and you can clearly see in those pictures The entire parking area that's crushed stone all the way over to the sector zone is new. That's all within the last year and a half since we've been dealing with this. So the concern was, at this point in time, once we couldn't come to an agreement, once they set their own date of August 1st and didn't comply with it, the agreement wasn't signed, that's when the code enforcement officer issued the cease and desist. So there was plenty of communication. That's why I thought it was important for me to be here tonight, because in their pleadings and what they were talking about, some of that dialogue was through my office, via town council.
I think the only thing I'll respond to that with is that border that we have to reestablish, he's going to do that. I mean, again, that's exactly where some of this work is going on, and he has every intention of restoring it.
Questions for the administrator?
Open it to public input.
I'm sorry?
Can open up to public input.
Well, can I just ask one more question? Joe Mankus.
More questions? Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
So are we trying to renegotiate the cease and desist order? Is that, no?
I mean, my argument is that what's going on is not a contractor's yard, it's just some landscaping, and when it's over, the stuff is gonna be gone. It's just a bad coincidence, bad timing, I admit. And if we need to come to the town, because we need some kind of special permission to do landscaping, fine. But as far as we know, we didn't need any.
But, counsel, how long has landscaping been going on?
I admit it's been taking a while, but it's a kind of a project he's doing.
I mean, this is not a big property here, you know?
Yeah,
What's it take to landscape?
Well, he's been chipping away at it between his septic business. So it
Well,
is-
chipping away and getting it done, you know?
Yeah. Digging holes and putting pipes down and fixing drainage takes a while. I don't know what to tell you.
There's also an old saying, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. This has been dragging on for quite some
I
time.
admit it's been dragging on, and we want to get
And
it
I think
done.
that is with intent. That
No,
is-
it's
that
not
is
intent.
strategy.
It's not intent. It's bad timing. It's not strategy. We want this over with, believe me.
Well, you would, not for nothing, okay, but you would think that if you want it over with, you get it done. I mean, we're not talking about a construction site here. We're talking about landscaping.
I understand.
And we're not being a good neighbor.
I can't comment on that.
And can you explain to me why this agreement was never signed?
I meant to push it towards him. I mean, it fell by the wayside. I mean, we kept going back and forth with Steve, and I think it just fell by the wayside.
Well, wait a second.
He'll sign it. He'll
You
sign
make
it.
an agreement, okay, you sign it, and you hand it over. I mean, is that something that's unusual or something that takes more than a minute to
Yeah,
do?
we had it in writing on the emails August 1st. I know. Like, he got most of the stuff off by August 1st. The stuff that remained after that, that's the impetus for all of this, is the landscaping stuff. I know. It's messy. I admit it.
It's definitely been dragging on.
And it looks like it's deliberately messy. I
It's
forgot to sign the check.
Not deliberate, but it's inadvertent, on the record.
Mr. Heath, is there still an ongoing issue with the state driveway permit?
Yeah, there isn't one.
There is no driveway.
There is a
There's
state
no
driveway permit, but they have no issue either with the office.
There's no application.
Know that for a fact by the state, that there's no issue with the state with their driveway?
No, the state has gone on record saying that there is no commercial access whatsoever at that property.
Thank you.
I will say that, you know, again, when I got involved and we talked about an agreement, and that was trying to show good faith in the sense that we weren't going to dispute that there was a previous use there that the town did not challenge. But for the record, that property has never had a commercial use or approved site plan, other than, like I said, the institutional knowledge that gives me, you know, I know what's been there and what hasn't been there, and the town was obviously not going to take issue with them operating a business out of there where there had previously been a plumbing business out of there that the town didn't take issue with 10, 15 years ago. And that's where we tried to come to that compromise. But the issue is that parking lot now has been expended all the way down. And now we have issues of the trucks. And again, you've seen several of those pickup trucks have dump bodies on them. Regardless if they meet the commercial threshold or not, once they're hauling material for hire, they are commercial. The trucks that are lettered, many of them have fuel cells to fuel his equipment. Some of them have surface body on the back to maintain equipment, which again goes directly to the zoning board's definitions.
Right. Those are 1.5-ton trucks, those aren't pickup trucks.
Well, the ones I'm talking about are pickup trucks.
Well, the ones in the photo are not.
So through town council, where the town's position was when we went back and forth was that, and through with Norma, discussions with Norma, is that we weren't going to challenge the office use with the existing drive to the door, not the added 15 parking spaces down to the right that was all leveled off. As you can clearly see in the photographs, that was all undisturbed hillside leading down slope that's been cut out. So if there's, we contend that if that's their intention to use it that way, that it does meet the definition of a contractor's yard, and as such should have the special exception and then a site plan approval.
You know, this is Tom Lee. It's, the whole thing is kind of ridiculous that we're still working through this. And this is not a big nut, honestly. I mean, we got bigger fish to fry, lack of a better term. Yes, I think we all know it was previously used as a commercial business. 1 van, maybe 2 vans. It was an office. And then we just get into this nonstop continuance of issues and problems here. So, you know, I know, Ryan, you negotiate and handle many issues that come up in this town. What's your opinion on this going forward? Is there any middle ground that we can meet here? And that's why I brought up the finality of a date. And then we're said and done. I know they had a self-imposed date. I know they didn't meet the date. I understand the business. And I know the business is extremely busy. You can pretty much drive to any quadrant of the town and see septics being put in. I get that. But to Frank's point and Joe's, it's landscaping, all right? This is not a major ordeal here. And especially with the impetus of everything that's transpired, like, get your collective butts in gear and get it done. Because you know people are watching this and they want to make sure things are up to code. So to Joe's point of being a good neighbor, hey, they're a business in town, look at, they're taking care of business. And then the lack of communication, it's like a slap in the face. But I know you stated twice now that you've been trying to work with them. And that's been you sound very frustrated.
Tom, may I? But we're here as a board.
Right.
This is an administrative appeal.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
For the cease and desist.
That's what I want to elaborate on, if we can.
So do we have a cease and, are we going to grant an appeal for the cease and desist, or are we going to deny it? That's what our role is here.
Right.
Okay? Go ahead.
Well, the question is, if the cease and desist takes precedence and we do that, does that mean at that particular point, you stop, cease and desist all activity on the property, including, and not limited to, all the work that they've been doing on the property?
Okay.
In other words, would they be allowed to finish the drainage?
Okay.
To finish to it, and put everything back
Let's get
as
some-
to where it was? So
that's
that's
very
where
good.
our decision has to be.
Right. But let's get some clarification. The cease and desist is for what reason?
There is a contractor's yard at 208 Main Street. And I need to mention that the business, Donald Hebert Septic and Site LLC, is addressed at 121 Main Street, which got notices of violation in 2023 because they weren't supposed to have that business at that location. And they moved that location to 208 Main Street, but the business address is still 121 Main Street. Why they have a business address at one place and they're functioning at another, I don't know. But you can clearly see by the 3 pictures. The building was used for an office. You could still use it for an office. But from 2024 until now, the site work has already been done. They've cleared it out. They made a big parking area. They have a contractor's yard there. They have plenty of material and heavy equipment and storage that is on site. That, in my mind, is a contractor's yard that's there without a special exception or a site plan. It's pretty clear to me. And they've had the same equipment there in 2024 as they do today. So whatever they say they're doing there, that's landscaping, it looks the same in the past year to me.
Mr. and Ms., go ahead.
I was just trying to clarify to your point about the work. It sounded to me like that most of the representation was that the work is being done on the neighboring property, not on 208.
Okay.
The concern is the material storage and the expansion of 208. I think it would make sense, given the size of the property next door, that wouldn't the material storage be more appropriate on the site that they're working on? We're talking about, what, maybe 2 truckloads of stone? When I had originally communicated with them, they had told me originally there was no talk of landscaping. During that conversation, the stone was put in to put in the parking area. That's why I was told that the stone was originally there. Now there's more stone there, same spot, dumped there. And now we're talking about landscaping, but correct me if I'm wrong, but the landscaping is going on in the neighboring property, not on 208.
I'm not sure, is that true? Is it going on the neighboring property or on 208, the landscaping?
Well, I think they'll reshape 196 to cut the hill back and follow on line of sight for 196. People that help not see it, but looking that can, but not see looking west at all. Hopefully cut down quite a lot of thousands of dollars. Yep, all dumps, whole reshape, realty, now it's been whole seeded.
Okay,
Mulch.
but which property? 196? Okay.
That's done.
There you go.
Joe?
I think I've said my.
I have some additional comments.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
In one day, in this town, was 7 or 8 pieces of equipment all over other people's properties. So where will all of that equipment go? Does it get stored somewhere? The company and the company name that's on all the trucks that are all over town have to go somewhere. If this is a contractor's yard because there's a couple of pickup trucks there, where is all the other equipment going to go when they're not using it? Are they going to park all of that at 208 Main Street?
No, he has an off-site location. I don't know much about it because, again, I don't represent him. I represent the landowner. But after August 1st, he took the bulk of equipment and trailers and things like that and moved them off-site, so he keeps them somewhere else.
Where is that? At 121 Main Street?
I don't know. I don't represent him. It's not a 208.
Joe Mankus again, well then, if that's the case, why can't this equipment be moved to this site? If he can't get to the work anyway, he can bring it back when he's working on it, but he doesn't have time to work to do the landscaping. So move the equipment to the other site, get it off the property.
Possible?
We can't hear him.
The question is, wherever you're storing the equipment. Okay, so his direct question is, can you move it over there? The stuff that's using for the landscaping, or does it have to stay on site?
When we speak, we have to come up and utilize the mic.
Okay. So there you have it. It's just easier because he has to chip away at it, so it's easier when it's on site. But it will be gone to where he keeps it.
Any other
I'm done.
questions from the board? Okay, I'm going to put it out for public input.
Do we do public
Okay,
input first?
anybody that's in favor of this appeal? Go ahead. Come down, sir. Yep.
Come on, Ruben.
Gentlemen, I guess where I'd like to start is, I hope if I take my company,
Please state your name.
Reuben Wentworth, owner of Alton Home and Lumber Center, direct abutter to the question property.
Thank you.
For the last 2 years, I've watched it. What I'd like to say first is, I hope if I take an Alton Home and Lumber Center truck home and park my dooryard 5 nights a week to bring it home, I'm not considered a contractor yard. Or if I bring the hay truck home with summer hay run, and it's late at night, I bring it home, I don't get in trouble for bringing a hay truck home. This property has gotten hostile from the town's point of view, and I think maybe from the other point of view. And I got caught in the middle of it, and I brought it to the selectmen's attention twice. Today, again, on my property, pictures were taken. If they want to call it the right-of-way, that's fine, but they pulled in behind my truck. I've asked to stay out of this. It has not happened. What I'm most concerned is, and I will go back and I'm going to refute Mr. Ryan. Since I was a kid, when the Weatherbys owned it, Ivers Weatherby was the electrician here in town. He built that garage for an appliance resale store, retail. And he also worked on appliances there. After the Ivers and his wife moved to Wolfboro, they sold it to a family. That family, unfortunately, in a few years, got a divorce. The Shields took it over and made apartments. I ended up renting the garage across the street for the grain store. I was running a loader back and forth. None of the neighbors had any concerns. Kept the snowbanks back, and the question of the parking area, which I don't know if it's parking, I think it was an access point to get the two properties together and get the septic system done, because that was the easiest way. Has it taken a while? It has. I've watched it every day. Go in and go out. Sighted vision is 300% better than what it was. My neighbors up the street used to look at my windows to see headlights coming because they couldn't see around the trees. They don't have any trees anymore. It's too bad the town has gotten to this point, because right now on Main Street, there's 2 other contractors' yards the town hasn't done a thing about, and I brought it to the town's attention 3 times. A laundromat that's turned into a big contractor yard down bottom. Never had a contractor yard. It was a laundromat. Laundromat's been closed 15 years, 20 years. Nothing with that one. The town has other problems too, trust me, but they're only going after a few, which that bothers me as somebody that's lived here their whole life. 64 years I've been here, and this is the worst I've seen in the last 2 years because of contractor yards. It's a very simple process, I feel, as a contractor yards. People interpret your definitions of your ordinances differently. That's why everybody comes here. You got appeals, you got cease and desist. It just gets, it's not going anywhere. Nothing's getting resolved. The property's 100% better than what it was. It's maintained better, the slopes are better. Can I say I agree with everything Mr. Hebert's done or Mr. Flannery's done? No, I'm not going to say I agree with everything. Has it improved the area, the distance of sight? I think yes. State of New Hampshire came down. I watched them that day with Mr. Hebert and Mr. Flannery. Remember one thing, telephone poles set just outside the right-of-way. So Mr. Flannery and Mr. Hebert was working within 3 feet of the right-of-way, which is the edge of the sidewalk. But I think that the town goes back to 1995. You read this, from the village store all the way to the bay, they'll find out the edge of the sidewalk is the edge of the right-of-way. Really, Mr. Hebert and Mr. Flannery was not in the state. The only reason I can tell you that, I helped design that sidewalk all the way to the bay. So I hope you folks can resolve this in a nice mutual way. I hope communication can open up better, because I will tell you, in my store, one of the biggest things right now is the communication with your building department. People come in, a lot of contractors say, how do we get in touch? I give that man's number out. I give Nick Montepaine's number out and say, call the selectman, because nothing to do with it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't even want to be here tonight, if I had to for my neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Ruben.
questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor of Yes, sir. Name? Please. Thank you.
My name's Kenneth Kinney. I own 192 Main Street. Yeah, could you get closer?
Just pull it towards you.
I'm sorry. My name's Kenneth Kinney. I own 192 Main Street. I do take offense to your comment about him not being a good neighbor, being neighborly. He's a very good neighbor, actually. He did my septic, cleared up a lot of the front yard. In my house, a lot of you know, was abandoned for 20-plus years. Was probably the eyesore of Main Street. And he was very key to getting that yard straightened out, getting an up-to-date septic in there, getting control of the flow of the hill, helping with the ice in the road every winter on a curve. Line of sight is so much better, you know. We all used to inch out the end of our driveways, my other neighbor also, just to see around that corner, you know. Bob Flannery's place, the hill coming down, he had a massive oak tree there, you couldn't see nothing around. And, you know, Dan removed it. I never hear any noise from all his trucks. They're all brand-new trucks. They're not old junk. I hear more stuff taken off from everywhere else around there than his equipment. All new equipment, nothing leaks there. He leases a lot of his equipment, you know, and that's why they're always on the jobs out here working. You know, there's no leaks of hydraulic fluid or anything like that. I think he's done a great job all along Main Street, honestly, and he's a big utility to this town. There's a lot of old septics here, old dry wells, you know, and they're clearly not getting addressed nearly quick enough around the lake. So I feel like he's a big asset to the town, really. When it comes to beautifying Main Street, I can't think of one person that's done more in this town to make Main Street look better than him. You know, Ruben's septics and his apartment buildings, mine, next door, these were all old dry wells. My septic was 65 years old, if not older, who knows? You know, these are all getting up to date, they're all along the bay. You see his signs all over the place because the guy works 6, 7 days a week. And that was always a business next door there. There's a plumbing business when I moved in. You know, Ruben's known all the businesses that have been there over the years. I don't see any reason why it's not reasonable to have his business there. Sure, there's a few pieces of equipment. It's a different type of business, but it's still a business, and it's still an office. So I don't really see any reason to not let him be there, really. And in fact, I've had more problems with the elderly community behind me dumping brush down our hills than anything, you know, not anything to do with his business, you know, which it still hasn't been resolved. You know, this is supposed to be a nice 18-unit elderly community that doesn't bother anybody, but their landscapers dumped 4 or 5 dump trucks down on my property. Nothing was done about it. They couldn't figure out who did it, you know. I asked Dan if he'd go up and clean it up, and he's willing to do it, you know. So I feel like you're kind of alienating a good asset here, you know. There's not a lot of septic contractors in town, and there's definitely not enough to do all the septics here, for sure. So I don't feel like she's been dealt with right, honestly, or respectfully, you know. He was just kind of attacked a lot like I was on my property as well. The reason I didn't do my septic was because I was being threatened about getting thrown out of my house for not having a sanitary system. I bought a house in an existing septic. It wasn't failed. But I spent $35,000 to have it replaced. You know, I don't feel like it's right how he's been treated by a lot of the officials in this town. I was standing on my front lawn while Norm was in a town vehicle using cameras. That's electronic use in a town vehicle. You know, it's not all right. So I feel like you should allow him to stay there, you know, with his equipment. He's not bothering anybody. If people take offense to a lot of new equipment, then I'm sorry, but he's been really good to have for a neighbor. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else in favor of this appeal? Anyone in the audience that's opposed to it? Yes, ma'am.
Andrea Murray, 214 Main Street, the abutter. My main issue with this whole ridiculous thing, I agree this is beyond ridiculous, is my site. They fly people, everybody flies down the street. I'm on 2 corners. The trees cut down, great. I could still see between the trees. Hebert trucks still park in the residential parking lot. When I showed pictures last time we were here, Mr. Flannery saw them. They're not supposed to park there. That's for residents. They still park there. I have pictures from last month, the month before. I can't see around the pickup trucks, around the corner. The piles of snow. Yes, they made their parking lot bigger, but they put the snow in front of the sidewalk instead of in their bigger parking lot, out of the way. I don't want to die backing out of my driveway. That's my main issue. Plain and simple. I don't have time for this.
Thank you.
You're
Anything-
welcome.
Anything else? No?
Last we were here, I think he was supposed to pull a permit. He was gonna do a new driveway from his abutting site around to make like a semicircle, I believe, for the Hebert trucks.
I think that might require a state permit, okay, from the,
That hasn't
from the
been,
state.
that hasn't been pulled yet
I-
or
I-
inquired about.
I have no idea.
It's not been
I don't
approved,
think
okay.
the state would probably allow that.
Okay.
You know, from that standpoint, ma'am, you know. But I'm not the state, you know,
That's
this is just the town. That's a state road.
Yes.
And they give the permits to any additional driveways, as far as I know.
Well, that's fine, but if they made a bigger driveway, why don't they utilize it?
I can't,
So that's not being a friendly neighbor,
yeah, it's not in,
at least to me anyway.
yeah. Well, oh, I hear you. I hear you. You know, and certainly this board does not want you to die, okay? Okay.
I'm beginning to wonder about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would be opposed to this? Yes.
If nobody else wants to talk, or needs to talk right now, I do want to address a couple of things that were said, because I think it's very important. I do agree with Mr. Wentworth. I think there's a lot of non-conforming uses around town, some that predate some of these regulations. But in the essence of keeping consistency, we do not allow businesses or enterprises to operate without the accompanying state permits required. It's a condition of any approval that goes out, that all necessary local and state permits are obtained. And the one glaring issue with this is DOT has taken a stance that there is no driveway cut. So any increase to vehicles, whether they be dump trucks or pickup trucks, increases the trip count. And the reason that driveway wasn't approved the last time was because of line of sight, which goes directly to the abutters stance. The other thing I just would like to comment on is there's been some comments made about code enforcement taking pictures or driving by with a camera or targeting people or threatening people. I'd like to classify that the job by nature isn't very popular. When you send an individual out to town to tell people that they're not following the regulations, it's not popular. Taking photographs is the burden of the job, and putting a case that's provable on behalf of the town in front of the court. It's the nature of the beast. We have to do it. If we tell code to stop doing it, in essence with the individual that said that he was forced or threatened to put a septic system in because he didn't have sanitary conditions. That is the burden that we put on the health officer and code enforcement to make those calls. So I think I thought it was important that I came back up and clarified that for the record, but also for the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How would the board like to proceed?
I guess we'll close public input and debate it.
I'm sorry?
Close public input.
Close public input and debate it.
Close public input, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to close public input unless somebody else would like to speak on this subject. So I'm closing it from public input. Thank you. How would the board like to proceed?
I'd like to discuss this a little bit. I think there were some good input on both sides. I would point out, however, that we are not, this is not a special exception. We're discussing an appeal from an administrative ruling. This board has very limited authority here. We don't have the authority to negotiate. That's not our job. It's not a special exception where we can grant these rights or put conditions on it. It's just a matter of voting on whether it's an appropriate administrative decision. So I think what we can take into account in our considerations is much more limited than the breadth of the testimony we've had this evening.
I'm struggling with the mere fact of the cease and desist. We already know that the special exception was denied. But with the cease and desist, it stops the person from continuing to fix the property. I understand that there's some issues with the state as far as the driveway is concerned. I know that there's some issues with the expansion of the driveway area. But that being said, they know already that they're not supposed to have a special exception for a contract yet. That's not supposed to exist. There has been equipment there. The pictures attest to that. The code enforcement officer attests to that, that there's been still activity there. We've been told that the activity there was strictly to finish up the drainage and take care of it. So where do we stand as to if we follow through with the cease and desist? Does that mean they get everything off the property right now and everything goes and nothing gets finished?
Well, I think one paragraph in the cease and desist gives them 7 days to comply. I don't know if that's still, the letter.
If that's doable or not.
The letter is old, of course, only just coming before us this month. I don't know if they have the 7 days or not still, but I think we can negotiate. We have only the authority to vote up or down on the cease and desist. After that, it's up to the applicant and the town to try and figure out how to rectify it. I don't think we can solve the problem.
Okay.
I concur with Tim, that I don't feel that we can solve the problem. We need to vote on the cease and desist.
I understand.
Okay, that's what's before us. Then it's up to the applicant to work it out with the town and the town administration, okay, in terms of getting the other stuff done. Our job is on the cease and desist, and if we grant this appeal, then the cease and desist does not exist. If we deny it, then the cease and desist stays in place.
Correct.
Am I saying that correctly?
I believe so.
Okay, so I need a motion. Joe, do you have any?
I have no more comment.
No. Tim? Tom? No? Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'm going to move that we deny the administrative appeal from the cease and desist letter.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed?
Said aye.
Everybody said aye? So it was unanimous. Okay, it's denied. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, case, does anybody need to make a break here, or is everybody okay?
A glass of water so I got coffee.
Okay, so we're going to take a 5-minute break and resume in 5 minutes. Thank you.
No, not at all. I'd like to say more, but I can always get tongue-tied and I get too nervous to talk. That's just me.
No, it's tough cases.
You wanna know something? I think we gotta get paid for this shit, okay? You know,
I agree.
I'm putting more time into this than I ever expected.
Yeah, look at it another way. Myself, I'm also on zone, I'm on the, so it's nuts. I'm going two boards being in the meetings. You gotta be crazy right now. What's crazy? I'm getting confused. I mean, it's tough.
We're also,
Yes. Thank you. I work with most of them.
We gotta let this guy be in town, and, you know, I mean, look at the places. The prices, you know, this is nuts. Okay, but by the same time, I mean, but it's fucking nuts. Jesus.
Because now the is in effect. So now they can't do anything. They can't go. It's not. That was my point.
they drop the ball.
Oh, of course.
Certainly given the impression that Joe said the kid.
I mean, but the intent is, hey, get the work done. Come on. Somebody saw some years. What if they? What? Get the one. What it done? What's wrong with it? Can't have gun. I mean, I said, it's so, I so don't believe it. You know, those two of them that we had. We have three. A lot of yeah, this is stuff that was, you know, United States. And it is right, it's so humble that world, you know, places, you know, that is. It's perfect, right? And one of the things I was considering, I said maybe for is with the team. Well, I want to be honest, do not extend my property. Give me back, John, on the Wednesday. Oh, right. So miserable.
I'll bring him on a wheelchair if I have.
I don't blame him.
I'll actually do half his work for him. Why? Because he crossed all T's and dotted them.
And swamp.
Yeah, but we came in with the funds.
She just doesn't, you know, okay, and then she puts you. Every day. Biggest problem Kenny person. I mean, for secretary. Secretary. Assistant. It was conflicting. She just had a baby. And it was conflicting every time. And I think so. She was going to want as the secretary. I think she was going to retire. That planning board, planning department is in.
This is a, guys, it's still very bad. Stop using the phone. Intentionally close that. Jesus, because you can't get crazy, you can't pass the lecture. That's the biggest thing. It's killing us. What happens in the industry? You think Ryan's doing a good job? I mean, you're a thing. I do. I think he's trying his hardest. I think he's trying his best. Yeah, I think so. It's a transition. No doubt. I think it's no. Who knows what it is? I can see. Yeah. He's doing something. He knows his shit. He's putting fair reason. It's legal.
Have you read this next case? You have? Oh, it is a court. Oh, really? I was, that's lawyers last night, my mom, just, she had a Clinton, so she put up and, which is great. Talking to me for 4 days. That's why when I walked in there, it's like, he dove right in, it's like. But I don't see this person even needs special exception. It's a 42-acre lot for the shed. I guess just because of the size of the,
Residents,
it's not a residence, she wants to use it.
the reason you need a special exception.
Well, it's because it's gonna be a principal building, but it doesn't have to be a residence to be, I mean, you can have a building on a lot that's not a residence.
It depends on the zone. I think if some zones,
Some zones you can't have a building unless it is a residence. Okay.
but a few years ago, the zoning amendment committee added special exceptions and you could do that.
Okay. You can flip it up. No, okay, so you can flip it up.
So here it is.
The chair, permitted use, all districts provided should, oh, no more than 240 square feet. And he wants one that's just, yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to resume. Case Z 25-38, Jay and Julie Cleary, owners, map 12, lot 92, Bear Pond Road, special exception rural zone. A special exception is requested for Article 300, Section 360, to permit construction of a shed larger than 240 square feet as a principal building on a lot.
Correct.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Julie Cleary.
And your name again?
Julie Cleary?
Hey, welcome, Julie. Okay.
Let's get the
We
application.
just need to look at the application real quick to make sure.
100%.
Okay. Huh. Easy for you to say.
No,
Okay.
Staff.
Anybody? Are we okay here?
They do not have butters list.
I do not see it in a buzz list either.
Says, yeah, it says it was submitted and received.
We don't, okay, do you happen to have it? by
Right.
chance? Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the application for case Z25-38.
Thank you, Julie. Okay. And do I have a second?
Oh,
Second, okay, all in favor?
aye.
Would anybody like to see the butters list? It's good size. Julie, go ahead. You're up.
Basically, we've purchased this property 2 years ago, and we're finally made to the top, if any of you are familiar with Bear Pond Road. Basically, we're on 45-acre lot. The driveway up to the lot is basically the old Tote Road Northern Land Traders put in when they cleared the lot, when they owned it 40-some odd years ago. We already have an engineered house design, and we've already had a septic design, but right now, we're just not in a position to build. We do plan on building at the top. Until then, because my husband and I are doing everything ourselves, we want to put a shed at the top. The butters list, as you see, is quite large. They can't see me, and I can't see them. I'm up 1,022 feet. I can't see much of anything, actually. So we're just before you guys to see if we can get the exception to put in a shed that's bigger than the 12, to get from around 12 by 20 that you don't need to be permitted for.
How big? I seen the depiction.
24 by 32,
24 by 30.
yeah. Right. There's no electric up there, there's no water up there. It's pretty, I mean, someone had, I guess the conservation department had worried about wetlands. I have no wetlands, I can't even go up there. It's dry, bone dry. But we're trying to do most of, if you look at some of the pictures, and I don't know if the pictures were clear enough that it's hard to take. This is the picture I just took, and if you'd like, I'll approach you, show you. It's just a ridge that you can't build up there. This is probably 4 acres, so it's a pretty flat property we're gonna build. Just get you closer to your microphone. Thank you. As you can see, my husband has put in the crushed gravel next to that Conex container. That would be on the left side of the ridge. Basically, the property, if you look at the top of that, it's 2 ridges with a valley in between. And both sides of the ridges are extremely steep. I mean, the top one, you wouldn't even, you have to hold the trees to climb up. Okay? But once you get to the top, it's beautiful, plenty of room. But we live in Barrington, so we go there all the time, but we have a truck camper, but we're hauling our stuff back and forth because we have the Conex container, but we put our UTV in there. So we have like his and her chainsaws, ditch witch, any kind of equipment you could think of, we've got up there. So we want to be able to put it in someplace and also just be a little more comfortable when we do go up there in the wintertime. I can't let my dog run free up there because we do have the cats, and we do have the bears. So we just wanted to put in some kind of shed that we could house all that in there. And when we do build, we'd like to attach the utilities to the house and either have it as a garage, or barn, or in-law apartment or something like that. Not very exciting compared to the last case, sorry.
Okay. All set?
Whatever questions you
from
might
the
have.
board? Paul LaRochelle, just a little confused on what plan are you going with as far as the size of the shed?
24 by 32.
The 24 by 30, because you have more than one.
I'm sorry, they sent us 3 different ones.
There's 3 different ones.
Yeah, I don't know
So
why.
what is the 24?
By 32. Yeah.
Thank you.
Julie, what is the height of the barn?
7.5 feet on the exterior edge, and there's a loft, but not a loft you can get into. There's a tote, you can put a tote up top. That's another 4 feet, and that's at the rear of the cabin shed. You could put tote box up there. So I think the center height is 12 and a half feet.
So it's only 12 and a half feet high?
Yeah, it's only one
The center, the center of it?
Yeah, there should be a drawing that shows that.
Okay.
The
And
pitch is not,
I have an X on the plan, right up right up here
Yeah,
at the
that's the
top.
shed.
Is that where the shed is going?
yes.
Okay. All right, and that's kind of the top of the ridge?
Yeah, if you look at this plan here,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a shed here. If you go
Yeah.
up that driveway, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a snowmobile
Right.
trailer up there.
Yeah.
Probably go another 100 feet, and that's going to put you at the peak, which is 1,023 feet.
and how do you access this? Is this right in this area right here?
Yes, we
Is
have
how
a
you
50-foot.
access?
Yeah,
So there's a road, a driveway that
There's
goes
two.
all the way to the top?
Yep, there's two roads. If you were to go in, I can show you. When you drive through that 50-foot swath there, they had a tote road that basically goes straight up and then it bears up like that. And there's another one that goes this way, which we cut in all the way up.
And from the road to the shed is how far? How many,
It's a long hike.
yeah, it's a long driveway.
Oh, it is. Say, it's over 1,000 feet. Couple-
Yeah.
So maybe,
Sure. Okay,
this one's just this one big. So, if you can see this. If you were to access the driveway here, this is 50 feet
Yeah,
wide swath.
yeah.
Basically, the driveway goes up and around to the top there, or it goes here, up and around there. And the valley is in between.
Valley's in the middle.
Yeah,
Valley's in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Joe Mankus, you had mentioned, you said 24 acre lot, but is it?
44.
Okay, 45. I misheard you. Okay,
It was 48.
okay.
So.
More questions from the board? Tim? Joe? No?
I'm all set.
Pretty straight.
Anybody all set?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go to public input. Is there anybody here that's in favor of this applicant's application for this shed? Not seeing anyone? Okay. Is there anybody that's opposed to this applicant's application for this shed? Seeing none, hearing none, I'm closing public input. What a relief. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Would you like to say anything else before we go to our sheet to approve or disapprove it?
Unless you have any questions, I mean, I think we've tried to provide everything that you can
Okay.
see. We're not an eyesore, or, like I said, no one can see us, we can't see anybody else, so I don't think we're disrupting our neighbors or anything like that. You know, if anything, when what we've done on the property so far with the trails and things like that, we've actually improved the property, and the neighbors know that, so I haven't had any.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
What you were showing in the pictures.
Right.
We're trying real hard, but it's up there.
Okay. Okay. Are we ready to?
Sure.
Roll in? Tim, Tom, would you start?
Yeah, a plat has been submitted in accordance with the appropriate criteria in Article 500, Section 520B. I agree.
I agree.
Tim Morgan, I agree.
I agree.
Joe Mankus, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree.
And that was Paul Larochelle. I agreed as well.
Paul?
Yep. The specific site is an appropriate location for the use. This is simply a shed being put up on a wooded lot, very wooded property, and I believe this is very appropriate for the location.
Tim Morgan, I agree.
Joe Mankus, I agree.
I agree.
And Tom Lee, I agree.
Factual evidence has not found that the property value in the district will be reduced due to incompatible land uses. There wasn't any testimony with respect to property values, but it's hard to imagine that this would affect values of surrounding properties.
I agree.
I agree.
It's Tom Lee, I agree.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree.
Abutters, there is no valid objection from abutters based on demonstrable fact.
I agree.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree.
Tim Morgan, I agree.
Nuisance. There is no undue nuisance or serious hazards to pedestrian or vehicle traffic, including the location and design of access of ways of off-street parking. It's a very large property, and there's absolutely no serious or nuisance in terms of pedestrian or vehicle traffic.
It's Tom Lee, I agree.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree.
Tim Morgan, I agree.
Joe Mankus, I agree.
Facilities, adequate and appropriate facilities and utilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed use or structure. There is no needed utilities at this point or facilities. It's strictly a standalone barn. So I feel that there are adequate and appropriate facilities.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree as well.
Tim Morgan, I agree.
Joe Mankus, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree.
There is adequate area for safe and sanitary sewage disposal and water supply. This don't apply at the time, for this is a storage shed on a wooded lot.
Tim Morgan, I agree.
Joe Mankus, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree.
Tom Lee, I agree.
The proposed use of structure is consistent with the spirit of this ordinance and the intent of the master plan. A few years ago, the people of this town, by warrant article, amended the zoning ordinance to allow precisely this sort of thing.
Joe Mankus, I agree.
I agree for the same reasons, Frank Rich.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree as well.
Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve a special exception from Article 300, Section 360 for application Z25-38.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go build your shed, okay? But, okay?
Thanks, gentlemen.
That was a nice one.
We'll be waiting for the party.
Good
okay?
application.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving right along. Previous business, okay. I don't think we have any previous business, do we? Okay, all right. We don't have any previous business, do we? No.
Nope.
Good. All right, moving right along to new business. All right, discussion to consider a rehearing request regarding Z 25-35, map 11, lot 2813 for Thane LLC property owner, submitted by Gary Bovo Esquire. This is a discussion by the board, okay, and I don't think that we need to have any kind of public input. It's our discussion, but it's an open discussion so that the public can hear it, but it's closed to any public
Input.
Okay, great. Just so that the public knows that there is no public input, but the board has received information from the applicant, and we will discuss it by the board and make a decision based on whether we feel that there needs to be consideration for a rehearing request, that the board, if we make that decision for a rehearing, would be another hearing concerning the applicant, okay, in terms of this particular case. Discussion.
Well, I definitely think and feel as though that in lieu of looking at the attorney's letter and looking at, through this, that the applicant should be granted a rehearing request on this particular case.
I agree with that. I think this board has always been pretty liberal about allowing rehearings just to make sure that we get this right, and that the applicants are given a fair hearing, and if, I think a rehearing in this case accomplishes that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would concur. This is Tom Lee. And I think the level of detail and the comprehensive nature of the brief that was put forward is excellent. And took a while to get through, but it was very informative and educational on a few different points. So I
Absolutely.
would definitely like to go forward with a rehearing.
Okay, Joe?
I agree.
You agree?
For all the same reasons.
And for all those same reasons, it is very comprehensive. I have reviewed it in great length, and there's a number of issues that I think the board needs to reconsider, okay, and listen to it more intently. So, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we grant the request for the rehearing for case number Z25-35, map 11, lot 28-13, for Thane LLC, property owner, submitted by Gary Bovis, Esquire.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That's unanimous. Okay, great. Moving right along. So that rehearing is approved.
I think I have that one.
And I would imagine that the rehearing would be at the next
Yes,
meeting.
December 4th.
December 4th, so that,
what Tom said.
I'm sorry,
What Tom said. December 4th.
December 4th.
Yes.
Yes,
So the next rehearing would be on December 4th,
December 4th.
just for the public to know.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we have a withdrawal from the planning board regarding the second case that is a request for rehearing.
We have a withdrawal.
We have a request for a rehearing for a case.
Yeah. From Catherine Gould, a butter.
Yes, the property owner is here. He may be able to shed some light on this, but I think his plans will change a bit. I don't know how that will affect the special exception that was granted, or if he needs to do that again. Or if they want to rehear the case regardless. I'm not sure how to handle it, but do you want to come up, Rick, and give us a little synopsis of where we're at and see if the Goulds want to go forward with a rehearing or not, perhaps?
Yeah, Rick Lundy. So I talked to Jeff Hertel, and I asked him if he'd sell me an easement through his property or another access out through his storage units onto Hodgson Road, the Class 6 road that I just did the entrance to get up into his property. And he said, yeah, he said, I'll do that. So I would extend Hodgson Road at my expense, another 50 feet or whatever, to go right behind his building.
The storage.
Yeah. But I still want my other entrance. I'm not giving up that because I've already put it in, and I have a legal entrance there. But I want to use the entrance out onto Hodgson Road, right onto the highway. So I'm making a deal with Jeff on that.
So, Mr. Lundy, we approved your
Yes,
the ZBA, okay? And this is this rehearing request is from one of your abutters, okay? Catherine Gould,
yes.
okay? So I think, and me, this is more of a discussion with the board. I think we have to rule on this here, and whatever you decide that you want to do in addition, depending on how we rule on this rehearing, okay?
Yeah,
You can bring up other things at that hearing. I don't think it's appropriate for you to, whatever addition you want to do, okay, may be appropriate or not, but that's not what we're hearing tonight,
right,
okay? And I thank you for that, what you're trying to do, but that's only what you're trying to do.
right,
Our,
right. You're here to vote on.
our,
Yes.
what we have to decide is a rehearing for that we approve the ZBA, should it be reheard?
Right.
Okay, based on the information that we were given by the abutter, okay? And so, but thank you for that information. But it's actually irrelevant to what we have to look at.
Right.
Okay?
Yep,
Certainly, you have every right to go, even right now, to the planning board for an approval.
right,
And I will let you know that you can do that even without, even if someone appeals it.
Right.
Okay? You can literally do it, but you do it at your risk, okay? Because anything that the ZBA does or has approved, it could be appealed and adjudicated by a court of law, and anything that you might have done, okay, could be, and any expense that you might have taken to do anything on your property, okay, it could be reversed. You
Yeah.
understand that?
Yep.
Okay, good, I just want to make
Yep.
sure. But I think unless the board feels differently, I think I'm stating that we have a rehearing request, and we have to decide as a board, okay, if a rehearing is appropriate, just like we did on the last case.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
And we did feel that we needed a rehearing. So, thank you very much, and I appreciate that, okay? That you've come forward and,
Yep.
and are trying to do the best that you can, but that, it's irrelevant to what we have to do tonight.
yes.
Okay?
Yep,
I will say,
Thank you.
Mr. Lundy, though, there is relevancy in the fact that if you are making an adjustment to the access road, it'd be noteworthy of a discussion with said abutters, and even the rehearing gets scheduled, it may be a moot point and get canceled based upon negotiations between you and any other parties associated with. So
Yeah.
will that happen or not, that's up to you and those parties, but we'll vote on the rehearing portion. Thank you.
Okay, so, discussion on the applicant, the discussion on consideration of a rehearing request for Z26, Z2536, map 15, lot 9-3, 9-3-1 for Catherine Gould, abutter, submitted by Stephen Grill Esquire.
Mr. Chairman, Tim Morgan. Once again, in keeping with our pattern as a board of being rather liberal in allowing appeals so that we make sure we get it right and that everybody feels adequately heard, I would vote in favor of a rehearing.
I would concur with that.
In all fairness, I have to agree as well.
And I agree myself.
For a rehearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
In that
Agree
case,
to it.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the request for a rehearing in case C 25-36.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so there'll be a rehearing on December 4th, 2025, based on the board's decision, in all fairness, to have a rehearing based on the testimony or the information that was submitted by Catherine Gould as the abutter. Okay, cool. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along, approval of the minutes from ZBA minutes of August 7th, September 4th, and October 2nd.
I'm glad these got corrected.
Yeah,
We are approving October 2nd minutes only.
we are only approving October 2nd.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
That's all we have.
Which was,
I think
yeah.
that's all you
That's a
have.
good
that's all we
thing.
have, right. Okay, but, so we will not be approving August 7th nor September 4th, because those are still in the works, okay? But we are approving with any changes. And I hope everybody got to see what the original
Yes.
draft was versus what the new draft is.
Big difference.
Huge difference. Okay. Any,
Yeah, I do want to see you for a minute.
any clarifications, anybody see any changes? I thought myself personally, it was pretty well documented. It actually was,
I think the second draft was done.
second draft, the first draft, holy moly.
No, that one
You
was
know. Okay, but
taken out of tech.
And Norma, thank you very much for all the hard work you did on that, okay? You know, anybody got any changes that they'd like to see?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to recuse myself. I admit I haven't read these.
I'm shocked.
He hasn't had the time.
You didn't read them? You love to do copious reading on top of that.
He does.
Do you want us to wait for you to read?
No, it's entirely your call, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to let you know ahead of time.
Okay. Actually, I was waiting for a couple of commas or periods that you might have seen, but yeah, I am extremely disappointed.
It's very unusual
You
behavior.
know, very unusual that you wouldn't have something, but that's okay, Tim. I mean,
My day with the long
Tim,
defense
honestly,
attorney.
we can wait to get the approval if you'd like us to wait.
No, thank you,
No.
sir.
Well, then, hearing none, can I get an approval?
Motion to approve.
Huh?
A motion to approve.
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to approve the October 2nd, 2025
I'll second.
public hearing for the zoning board.
I'll second.
Second, Joe? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. So that was just October 2nd, okay?
Yep.
Revised.
So, Norman, do we have any correspondence?
Yes.
A little.
If I'm thinking of the right case, I think this board made quite a point of saying we didn't think this was an RV.
Yes.
Yes, that's the one.
And I don't know if the opinion we put out reflected that or not, but I really get the strong sense that that's what the board was trying to say.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that might be beyond what the board can do.
So you think we have to correct what we did before by going forward with this?
I don't think you can correct what you did, but this will be step two, which will go however it goes. It'll be another variance before you'll have to decide on the case.
So it will be another variance.
Right,
But we approved the recreational vehicle.
you did for section 356, but you didn't approve section 412.
Did they apply for 412?
They did not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Were they advised to use section 412?
We had one discussion where I told the applicant that what he wanted to do wasn't allowed by our zoning. And he went to zoning on his own and filled out an application, and it was filled out before I had a chance to talk to him about anything.
All right.
So you notified them, and this was just a couple days ago, so we'll just have to wait until this case comes before us, if they in fact apply.
Yep, but it's just correspondence that was done regarding the board here and what you do here. So it's
Okay.
important that you know
Okay.
what I'm doing and what I'm saying to who.
Okay.
so.
Okay. Do you know if the vehicle is already there?
No,
No, it is not.
I know that the mobile home is gone.
the mobile home.
They removed
The
it.
mobile home?
The other
is
one's gone.
But the RV is not there?
No.
It's not there yet that I know of.
Within the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it was removed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's nothing there right now.
No. So that's gonna wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so we approved this in August, Norma. It's now November 4th. When did you just notify them now?
Yeah. He just got a demo permit for the manufactured home not too long ago, so,
He just got the demo permit?
yeah, it hasn't been gone that long.
Well, yeah,
Couple
it's been a
weeks.
couple weeks.
I told him verbally, and he didn't agree with me on the phone, so I followed up with a letter.
It's just a shame that this wasn't brought to his attention at the time of the hearing.
Yep.
And
But
that he
people
would have been
don't
appropriately.
always listen or come in and talk to anybody, they just apply. He did the whole application himself and brought it into Robin. I didn't really know he was doing that until it was way after the deadline date, which is usually a
And
month
now
out.
the other building is gone.
Yep.
Yes. All right, well, appreciate the correspondence, so we're not getting blindsided, whether it's next month or the month after, and wondering why this gentleman's before us, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Norma.
Trying to uphold the zoning ordinance.
Yep, okay. Okay, I will entertain an adjournment.
I'll second that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in, second
All in
by
favor?
Joe, all
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
And can you note what time it is? 8 o'clock?
I'm sorry?
8 PM, the adjournment time?
8 PM. Is
Okay.
8 PM is the adjournment time. Thank you.